And welcome to this week's episode of Weekend Preview, starting Tinsley, Zach, and myself, Mason. We are so excited for another weekend full of overall sports and especially football. We have our weekend preview where we're going to look over what happened, like hit on some topics for last weekend. And then we have our famous hop on a prop, our best bet, and then our signature, which hasn't hit yet, but we're due, baby.
We're due.
We're due. That is the Next Guy Up Parlay, which Zach is still in the process as we speak, working on his leg for the parlay. How you feeling,
together?
Zach?
It's coming. I'm really waiting to the last minute. I'm doing some last minute research over here. Waiting. I'm waiting for all the stats to come in, all the data to come in as late as I can. We're checking injury reports. We're checking all the spreads, see what the lines are moving, things like that.
Speaking of a last minute pick, was that Vandy pick last week a last minute pick?
No, that was my best pick. No, it was terrible.
Best bet hit Colorado. We should have swapped.
Yeah, let's start there. My Colorado. Listen, I've had some takes about Colorado over the course of this podcast. My take about Colorado this week. Pro Colorado, they said they were going to cover. What did I say? 21.5 points. A lot of points.
Easy.
USC's defense, trash, garbage. What happened? What did I say? I said it's going to turn into a shootout. What happened? Shootout. High scoring game.
Yep.
USC is not coming anywhere near the college football playoff. You can have Caleb Williams all you want, but it doesn't matter if you're going to give up 41 points to Colorado's offense without their best player, arguably. I mean, I'm just saying USC is when they run into an Oregon or a Washington
or
Notre Dame. There's no way they're not going to do anything against them. It's done. Even Notre Dame. I've said it.
I've had that scheduled as like I'm going to smash that whenever they play each other. It don't matter what the money line is. I'm smashing it.
Smash it.
I don't think they play Washington though.
Oh, okay.
I'd have to double check.
So here's the thing, though. If you listen back to
they do play them November 4th.
Look at that.
That's tough. USC.
Yeah, USC schedule is no joke, to be honest with you, and they could end up with like 3 losses. I think. I mean, Caleb, they're literally just relying on Caleb Williams to score all of their points.
Yep,
guys, USC's schedule is hard.
Yeah,
listen to it.
The Pac-12.
They're playing Notre Dame. They play Utah. Looks pretty good. They play Washington, Oregon, and then end with UCLA. But I mean, that's 3 top 10 teams they're playing in the last couple in the second half of their schedule.
Playing Washington and then playing Oregon is tough. Back to back.
They could legitimately be 9-3 or 8-4. Like no joke.
Wow.
With a potential like Heisman. What if they won the Heisman at 8-4?
They won't
Caleb Williams.
They won't give it
probably
to him. Not at that.
Even if his stats are crazy.
Even with 2 losses.
They can score 50 points a game, but if they can't stop anybody, Washington and Penix Jr. is going to put up 60 on them. Interesting.
Sure.
Okay, so that's my first take. Second take. Vanderbilt is truly a bunch of scumbags.
Yep.
Cowards. Kick them out of the SEC immediately and replace them with anyone else.
Yep.
So I made a terrible decision, and if you followed us last week, I personally apologize if you took the Next Guy Up Parlay and this leg where I was betting on Vanderbilt. Really, what I was betting on is that Missouri was frauds, and they still are frauds. But betting on Vanderbilt is the first time I've ever done it and the last time. Never again will I ever bet on Vanderbilt. Truly just a terrible life choice on my part. And I apologize sincerely from the bottom of my heart to all of the Next Guy Up listeners.
I accept your apology, Zach.
Thank you, Mason.
The fact that there's a minute 30 left in the game, you're 1 score away from covering, and you just you have all 3 timeouts, and you don't call a single timeout. That head coach should be ashamed of himself. He's not keeping his boosters happy because guess what? The boosters bet on the game. They would love for you to go.
I don't even know who it is. I don't even know who the Vanderbilt head coach is.
I don't either, but he's
in the same state.
He's a loser. He's an idiot. and they're on the list. They've cracked my top 3.
Yep.
I keep a solid top 3 that teams I don't bet on, and right now that would be.
Wait, can I guess?
Go ahead.
Can I guess Notre Dame after that horrible loss of a?
It was tough.
Oh well, you bet on them and you were zoned in, and they broke your hearts because they forgot to put a defensive end in.
They made all that money back by covering Saturday night against Duke. I doubled.
So they came a comeback.
Triple.
Were they on the list before?
No,
on the list before the
it takes like
it was close. They were close.
Yeah, they were probably number 7. So top 3 would be the Boston Bruins. They're number 1.
Oh, tough.
Yikes.
How much money did they cost you?
Go ahead and explain that one for us.
$3,800 is what they cost me. So I had a free $10 bet last year. Podcast listeners, I bet the Chiefs to win the Super Bowl. This was in December. Chiefs to win the Super Bowl. UConn to win March Madness. Boston Bruins to win the national Stanley Cup, whatever it's called, because hockey.
What round did they lose?
They lost in the first round to an 8 seed after setting records after records for best record, most points, just everything. And then they lose in the first round to
that was rough.
The Florida Panthers. So Boston Bruins, it's going to take a lot to move them off of number 1, but they're at 1. And then Minnesota is number 2 right now because they blew a fat parlay 2 weeks ago that Mason was on with me. And it was like $5 to win 170. And I just hate them. I don't know why. They're Golden Gophers, dumb mascot.
Oh, you're talking about college Minnesota,
not
the Vikings.
No, not the Vikings.
No. Gotcha.
My Super Bowl winning Vikings, but go ahead, Tens.
And then Vandy. Vandy's at number 3 now because they're just making me mad.
Guys, this is changing topics, but is there such a thing as being too good in the regular season? Like you perform too well that it's like you're almost can't live up to that hype in the playoffs. Like I think back to that undefeated Patriots team.
Patriots, yeah.
I think the Boston Bruins and then like the Atlanta Braves this year having that kind of like
such predicting the future.
I'm just saying that I feel like it's hard to finish a season that has been so good. Like,
it's hard to maintain that like
season built for you.
Yeah, it's hard to stay like that hot. I think it varies. I think it depends on the sport. Like certain sports, you can go on runs. I think football is a little easier to stay hot, but things like hockey and baseball, there's so many games.
Streaky, yeah,
and series like football, you got to win 1 game. In hockey, it's a 7-game series. Baseball.
Did that Golden State Warriors team that broke all those? I was going
to break that up.
Did they lose?
Yeah. They did.
Or did they win?
No, that team lost. That's the
something
team
to this.
There's
something to it.
That's the team that lost 3-1 in the finals, and they went and got Kevin Durant.
Yep.
Tough. Man, cowards.
When they broke that record, that was the same night of Kobe Bryant's last game as an NBA player. I went back and forth. That was probably regular season wise. That was the greatest night of my life sports wise because I kept going back and forth between ESPN and ESPN2 to watch those 2 games and kind of witness history and putting quote for myself it was. But side note, we're getting off a track. But
I feel like you want to be like a B plus.
Zach.
You want to be like a B plus in the regular season.
It's very fair.
Like, very
Think about
good,
the Giants.
Not great.
Giants are like a C minus. C minus regular season. They win the Super Bowl twice with Eli Manning.
That's all that matters. You gotta save up some of your wins for the postseason. You know, you can't be spending them all in the regular season. That's my take.
I did have one more team I want to yell about really fast.
Go for it.
And this is this maybe not just this team specifically, but college in general. Why do they not have to share their injury reports? What is this? I bet on Kansas plus 16. I felt really good about the bet. Their quarterback, Daniels, is a very good player, high-scoring offense. And then, like 15 minutes before the game, I find out that he's a scratch. He had a back injury that no one was reported all week. Like, why do college coaches not have to report injuries? I understand it's competitive advantage or whatever, but like that's so.
Are they reporting them just for the bettors?
That's what I'm. Yeah, exactly. Because because that's a significant advantage if you knew that their quarterback wasn't going to play. Of course, I would have taken Texas then. So I don't know. It made me very mad. Kansas was a little scrappy in the first half. I thought maybe they could pull it
They
off.
did.
Their backup quarterback's good too. It's just
Yeah.
I don't know. It just makes me because it feels like this happens all the time. It's like, oh, star player is out 30 minutes before kickoff. No one knew. It's like, well, that's not fair. We've all bet one way.
It's kind of wild that they can actually keep that under wraps the entire week. Like I follow some Tennessee like beat reporters and stuff, and they're in practice and they have multiple press conferences throughout the week. And the fact that they could actually keep under wraps that their starting quarterback is injured is kind of wild.
I mean, I feel like it happens
that's
with receivers and running backs. I mean, maybe unless you're just tapped into like the local beat writers for that team, maybe that's why I missed it. But
I feel like that would come out though if people had known. They definitely kept it under wraps. But no one on your team tell anyone.
Yeah,
not let that leak. It's kind of crazy.
Even if it was like the local beat writer for UT was just writing about how, like, if Joe Milton missed a game or was going to miss a game this upcoming week, like it would be news on ESPN within
for sure
an hour. So I don't get it.
Affecting the line. Yeah, I agree.
I don't know why they're allowed.
Very interesting.
Why it's different? Because in the NFL, if you just do only half of practice, it gets reported that you were limited in practice and stuff. So it's like overanalyzing in the NFL if you're missing practice at all. So I don't know. It's annoying. I hate it. It's one of my downfalls in college football is that I don't ever know
down with Kansas
starting. But down with Kansas mostly, yes.
They suck again.
Okay. We've kind of been bleeding into weekend recap here.
We have a little bit.
That's fine though. It's good. We talked about the Pac-12. I saw an interesting bet about them that you could take on DraftKings. It's like minus 150 that someone from the Pac-12 will win the Heisman. So you're versus the field.
That's pretty good.
The field was like plus 250.
Dang.
They've got the top two guys.
So it's like Penix Jr., it's Caleb Williams,
it's Bo Nix
on the outside if he has a really good second half.
He's like plus 1,000 right now, which isn't bad odds.
He's been good, I think. Oregon hasn't had a ton of competition yet. But.
Well, it also has Sanders, technically.
Is he still on there?
He's still pretty high up.
It's crazy.
He's like next to Sam Hartman. I keep checking because I have Sam Hartman and Jordan Travis, so holding those.
It feels right. I mean, I think right now, who's the front runner? Is it?
It's Caleb Williams. No, Caleb Williams is like minus 180 or plus 180.
They won't be after they drop a couple games here pretty soon.
Yeah, I think that's where Bo Nix is going to sneak in. I think if you're looking to take a long shot at Heisman, I mean, if you want to take the field thing that I just talked about, I mean, minus 150 odds kind of suck. But I think right now you want to take Bo Nix and Penix. Like, those would be the two you want to jump on right now. Because either one of them knocks off USC and stays undefeated, then they're probably the front runner.
I really don't think Caleb Williams is going to win it because his team is not good enough.
No,
which kind of sucks that's part of the thing. But
it's
always the other side of that though is, I mean, Oregon Washington play next week. They play each other. Ooh. So Bo Nix versus Penix Jr. That'll be a good game. But then Washington also plays USC, so they get to play each other as well. I mean, we're going to see all these quarterbacks straight up go head to head.
Yeah, I like that.
Which is pretty cool. Yeah, actually, Oregon plays USC as well, so they all three quarterbacks play each other.
Yeah, there's times where like some conferences, like teams get to kind of miss each other where they don't have to play the top tier teams in their conference.
Yeah,
so I like when this happens.
You mean like Georgia and Alabama, like every season?
Something like that. You know how Georgia just kind of always somehow magically gets Arkansas and Missouri.
It would kind of suck if you had to play both of them every year.
Yeah, it would suck, wouldn't it? Because you have a rivalry from the whoever knows when. Man, Zach, that was a flawless transition. Speaking of Georgia,
yeah,
look at that.
I don't How do you feel about this Georgia team? Because I don't think.
I feel bad in a good way.
Yeah, that's
Feel bad in a good way.
I feel bad about them being good.
It turns out
they're not very good.
Yeah,
they are good. They're not as good as they have been. Let's say that.
I think 2 years of losing all this defensive players to the NFL draft is kind of caught up to them, and the fact that 35-year-old Stinson Bennett is not there operating as the quarterback.
True.
I guess he was perfect for the system because the dude they got in now does not scare me at all.
What's Brock Bowers' Heisman line?
Oh, probably like plus 25,000.
Do you see his fourth quarter? I mean, it was like Georgia legitimately had a chance in the fourth quarter to lose that game.
Yeah.
And then every pass went to Brock Bowers like the whole rest of the game. As soon as it was kind of like, this game's a little bit in question, it was every single pass was Brock Bowers. And they couldn't do anything about it. And it's like, this guy is truly unstoppable. So, I don't know. I think just because he's not a quarterback, he doesn't have a chance, but that guy is a freak. Freak of nature.
He's a freak.
I don't know. I think Georgia with their schedule is, I mean, they have just a few possibilities of losing, but not any really good ones. I mean, I think at Neyland is truly their best chance of losing. And I think they're going to coast to that SEC championship game, though. And once they get there, I mean, I think it'll be Bama probably. SC West is kind of in a weird spot right now.
Could we not have an SEC team in the playoff this year? If you think about it, we could have 2 Big Ten, 1 Big 12, and 1 Pac-12.
Well, the Big Ten is all plays each other though. All the good Big Ten teams play each other at the end of the season.
Yeah, but it's
the question of like, well, would a 1-loss Michigan or Ohio State go in over a 1-loss Georgia if the loss is to like Bama? I know it's kind of early for playoff talk, but that is the question. Or I mean, we just talked about USC Michigan or USC Washington and Oregon all playing each other too. So like, what do you do if they all split those series and then all of a sudden you have a 1-loss Oregon, Washington, and USC that are sitting in the Pac-12, and then you have a 1-loss Michigan, and then Penn State beats Ohio State or something weird happens there, and then you have a ton of 1-loss teams because there's so many teams in that like A- category right now where you have 10 teams that are really good, it seems, but most of them play each other at some point. So it's like, well, we'll see what happens. I don't know.
It'd be kind of crazy if maybe the playoff was like
slots,
12 of them, and then we figure out who
all
the best
those
team
good
was.
teams could be there. That would be wild.
We should have put a trigger warning before that for your dad. He's not going to like that at all. He probably just now started listening again.
We finally got him back.
We'll be getting a text.
I mean, I think Texas has a good chance of being a playoff team at this point. Big 12 is pretty down, and we're going to talk about the game a little bit. But I think that game has the potential, honestly, to be like a playoff,
kind of
really early playoff. I mean, I think Oklahoma's good. I'll save the talk there, but I think Texas has a good chance of being in the playoff. But then it's going to get kind of wild. I mean, it could truly be like a Texas and then one Big 12 team. I mean, one Pac-12, one Big 10, one SEC. If Georgia kind of coasts through.
Yeah, I think this is probably the year.
The down SEC, though, is going to be a big national talking point.
Yep. If Georgia picks up a loss and then loses the SEC championship game, I don't see it could get tough. I don't think we'll get 2 teams from any conference this year. I think it'll be one.
I think there could be 1 or 2 max undefeated teams, and I think we're just going to be like 6 or 7 1-loss teams, and it's going to be like some people are going to get screwed out of a playoff spot.
And you got to think about Florida State too, because I think they've played the toughest part of their schedule. They've played the toughest part.
You're right. I forgot about them.
Yep. So I think this
sucks. Used to all the other conferences were bad.
Yep. So
it was like 1-loss SEC team. You're in for sure.
So that's definitely college football. It's getting interesting. It's definitely got a lot of fun storylines this year. It makes me wish the playoff was already expanded, just because I don't know. I just want to
Well,
see
that makes
all
such
the
a more
best
fun
teams in.
conversation. I
Yeah,
know you don't have to argue about one losses and garbage. You can
yeah,
just pick the 12 best teams.
and let them figure it out that way. Um, so transitioning from college to some NFL topics real quick. Um, the Bengals. Congrats, Titans boys. Y'all beat the brakes off the Bengals.
Yeah, we did.
I didn't watch a second of the game, but
Derrick Henry threw a touchdown pass.
I saw that.
Pretty sick.
Nice setting that
The
up,
jump
Zach,
pass.
because I got a stat for you.
Here we go. The stats.
Ready for the stats? Derrick
Ready.
Henry, Devin Singletary, and Keenan Allen all have one throwing touchdown this season. They are one away from tying Joe Burrow for how many passing touchdowns he has had for this season.
That's tough.
Well, you're thinking, well, I get it. He's been injured. He's missed games. He's not missed games. He's played his games through the injury, but he's only had two. There's two backups that have as many passing touchdowns as him. Gardner Minshew that was in for Anthony Richardson, and then also Andy Dalton, if you forgot about that guy. The Red Rifle. He has had as many as Joe Burrow. So Joe Burrow just kind of that whole offense struggled. If anybody watched that game, they couldn't get anything going. I actually had Jamar Chase over his receiving yards. He couldn't get nobody got anything going for that whole defense. Couldn't stop anything. So they're struggling, but I'll take the win with the Titans. That's Derrick Henry's get right game right there. He looked like himself. He's known to throw some passing touchdowns. Let's give him the ball. The jump pass.
Awesome.
It was awesome. So I'll take it.
I'm just glad my under hit. It was my best bet. So thank you guys for containing the Bengals' terrible offense. I don't know if I'm the Bengals, I'm stressed. I'm worried. Joe Burrow is not right, and they should have shut him down, because now they're just dug themselves into a very deep hole to where they can't let him sit now because they can't afford any more losses. But he's not healthy. He can't move at all, and that's very much like hurting their offense. And then how about some egg on my face? The Tampa Bay Bucks. I didn't expect this at all. I didn't think Baker had this kind of dog in him. The offensive line I thought was going to be really bad. But here they are. We're just winning games. I mean, they've only lost one game.
I'm going to be honest. I kind of forgot about the game where he's on the Rams for like 4 days and he goes out and balls out. We should just remember that game, because this is what he's like looking like, and put Mike Evans on your team. And apparently you're crushing it offensively. And their defense has always been good, right? Like, yeah, I know Tom Brady gets a lot of like praise, but towards the back end of his, just like any other 43, 45-year-old quarterback, whatever, he had the defense help him out a lot. Like they did what they were supposed to do. So I watched a little bit of their game. I have Sunday Ticket, best investment of my lifetime, and I would switch it over there because I got like I'm checking them out. Why not? But they've looked really good. So overall team, I'm curious to see if it holds up. I was wrong too. I said that whole division was garbage, and they've kind of run away with it a little bit. So we'll see what happens. Let's see if they can hold up on it. So,
I mean, I took their alternate win under, and so I mean, I'm feeling very stupid right now. So that's fun. All right, so let's transition to best matchups of the weekend. Mason, if you want to kick us off. I know I had one more thing on there about the Chiefs. I'm going to get into that here in a minute.
Can't wait. I also have a stat on that. But I'm going to just we got some time here. I'm going to speed mine up a little bit, but mine is Cowboys are a 4-point underdog against the 49ers this weekend. The 49ers have been eliminated, or the 49ers have eliminated the Cowboys in the last two postseasons. I'm excited to see how the Cowboys' excellent defense holds up against this incredible 49ers offense. If anybody remembers, the Cowboys go down. They had to spot the ball. The refs had to, and they didn't have enough time to spike it. They're probably still bitter about that. So I'm really excited about this matchup here. The Cowboys defense has allowed the fewest points per game this season, and the 49ers offense has put up the third most points per game. So what's going to give here, right? Both teams are both also perfect against the spread. Cowboys are almost perfect. Cowboys are 3-1, and the 49ers are 3-0-1 against the spread. So some betting statistics for you there. That's that is my matchup of the weekend.
Wow.
Good.
That's great. Who you got, Mason? Who's going to win?
I don't know how anybody can bet against the 49ers. McCaffrey, that whole if anybody could stop them, I would. This defense, the Cowboys defense has looked, I mean, they've made the Patriots look like a college team out there. So this defense looks good. If anybody could stop them, but then I feel like they would just give it to Debo, and Debo would put up like 2 or 3 touchdowns. I'm going to say 49ers. They just have too much and Dak does enough. Like, he doesn't turn the ball over, right? He doesn't do anything like incredibly flashy, which I think Brock Purdy kind of does the same, but it's like different offenses. But I'm curious to see. I'm going to say 49ers by like a point.
You say Dak Prescott doesn't turn the ball over? You're talking about just this year?
Yeah, this year. Yeah, okay. He has done better this year.
Yeah, no, I was gonna say he tied for the league last year. He missed.
I had a stat about it last year. Yeah. Yikes! No, this year he's looked different. I think he's just not. They're not like passing it, or they're not forcing it. Yeah, they're not making them like pass too much. Go ahead.
I think McDaniels, or not McDaniels, Mike McDaniels, the head coach for the Cowboys, taking over offensive coordinator duties. McCarthy, whatever, all the same. Maybe firing Kellen Moore wasn't the worst thing for the team.
You listening, Josh?
Yeah, you listening, Josh? You listening, Mason? Your boyfriend, Kellen Moore. He's doing a lot for the Chargers. They almost lost to the Raiders last week.
I'm pretty sure Herbert's like leading the league in passing yards, but whatever.
Hey, why are we not bet on Christian McCaffrey touchdown yet?
I think he's literally hit 11 in a row, right?
Yeah, but it's like minus 200.
It's like minus 190. Yeah, I just checked.
Yeah, it's crazy. Right? He's like hit 11 in a row. It's a streak I've never even heard of before.
It's more than that. I think he's only a couple away from breaking the record, like NFL record.
It's crazy.
Which makes me just feel like they're going to keep feeding him to try and get him the record. I think the odds are pretty good.
Well,
that's my take.
I'll have to look that up. That's Zach's take. Take it or leave it, and I'm taking it. Well, 4 touchdowns last game. I mean, come on. Can you not stop the guy? He looked incredible. And he's not even like a 20-year-old running back. I need to look up his age, but come on. He's killing it. So,
all right. Zach, do you want to do yours or do you want me to do mine? Mine's super short.
Yeah,
I wonder what yours is, Tens.
All right. I got one game.
I'm shocked.
Get up, make your breakfast, get your smoothie, get your coffee, whatever you need, because the Jacksonville Jaguars, are going to war with the Buffalo Bills. That's all I've been thinking about. The Bills are coming off of, and I don't have stats. I don't have anything for this. This is just my gut. It's never failed me, except it does all the time, but it won't this time. The Bills just came off of 3 games where they smashed teams by more than 20 points. They beat a division rival who was coming off a huge win, and so now they're feeling themselves. Well, guess what, everybody? They lost their starting cover corner in Trevion White, which sucks. He's a good player. And they're flying over to London. They're going to be a little groggy. They're not going to be prepared.
You guys are used to it now. You've already
been in London this whole week.
We've been there all week. Trevor just celebrated his birthday there. Shout out my guy Trevor.
Many fish and chips.
All the fish and chips. And so we're not just going to beat them, but I'm going reverse spread on them. Jags minus 5.5. It was always the Jags.
Always the Jags.
And the real Josh Allen, the good Josh Allen, my defensive lineman, he had 3 sacks last week against the Falcons. He's going to have 3 more this week, just like he did the last time we played the Bills. That's all they talked about on the TV the whole time was Josh Allen sacks Josh Allen. Well, it's happening again. So that's all I got.
Can I make a request?
Yep.
I would like to request that our intern, if nobody knows, Tinsley's wife, Morgan, goes ahead and clips this scene and puts it in a TikTok see if it holds up or not. Because I'm ready for it. You sold me. You didn't give me one stat. You didn't have to. But I did say I said before the season. One of the futures I was already looking at. You know how they put them out like a month before the season starts. I said I want to go ahead and take the Jags because I think the line's going to move, and they have an advantage already being in London, and then the Bills have to go up there, and it's a whole spiel trying to get into like a new country, a different country, time zones, all that stuff.
Practice.
So also,
yep,
exactly.
Yeah.
I saw into the future, and the NFL every single week from like 5 to 12 is going to have an international game because I don't know what is better to do than wake up, make like a hearty breakfast, and watch NFL football at 8:00 in the morning. It starts out your Sunday right, and I think it's going to happen. I think they will continue it. Everybody is freaking out about the Jags moving there in Tens. I don't want to get you fired up because it's not going to happen.
I think we need to hear Tens' official statement on Jags staying in Jacksonville.
We're at the halfway point. We haven't even started our bets, but we can go for. Well, let me just finish my statement. I don't think they'll have a whole division over there, but I think that they will try to make a requirement where every single third, NFL team will have to go over there. And they will have it from how they slowly started Thursday night football games where it was just a couple times. Do you remember this? You and I grew up with it. It was Thursday night just randomly. And now it's literally every single week now almost. So it's like one of those things where I could see international. They want to continue to build the brand and they want to just continue. They want to make it like soccer worldwide. And the whole starting, I'm sure that's the biggest views out of anything. Nobody's waking up Sunday morning to watch like the news or Animal Planet or anything. They're turning on their TVs to watch football at 8:00 in the morning with their eggs and pancakes.
There you go.
I like it. I don't think they'll ever be teams permanently.
No, there won't. It won't
too
work.
much logistics, like you said. I do think they'll keep doing what they're doing now, where they.
We'll see more of it.
Yeah. The whole thing of the Jags are moving to London, and this is a test run because we just did 2 weeks in a row. Well, last week was our scheduled home game in London, and then this week is the Bills' scheduled home game in London. The NFL made the schedule like this. We didn't get to pick to play back-to-back weeks. They just did it. If you think the Jags are moving to London full-time, let me ask you this. Would you spend out of your own pocket $100 million for a practice facility and then move the team away to another country and then just leave that practice facility just sitting there? I don't know. Would you do that?
That's true, Chance.
Would you buy up? I'm not done. Would you buy up tons of property to build the biggest Four Seasons hotel in North America?
Wow. In
the city of Jacksonville. Would you
Jacksonville been big enough to hold that?
I'll get to that.
It's a small city.
I'll get to that. Would you personally spend millions of dollars starting your own professional wrestling company to rival the WWE on television? And base it, its headquarters is in Jacksonville, Florida. Would you do all this stuff? Would you do all this stuff to move your team to London? The answer is
Morgan
no.
Tinsley, I want you to clip this as well for the TikTok.
Yeah, no, so this is the part you're going to need the clip right here. Michael Florio, shut up. Quit your stupid every other day narrative stories of the Jags are moving to London. Get a new story, buddy. You've been saying it for 10 years. He's been saying this dumb crap for 10 years. And guess what? We're still in Jacksonville, idiot. and we're still going to be in Jacksonville 10 more years, you idiot. God, Michael Florio, he ticks me off, man.
I didn't mean to get you started.
Yeah, you did. You knew that's a trigger.
Tins, we needed the people to hear these takes. It was important.
Yes.
But guess what? Now I'm smashing Jags money line. And I'm going to use that money, and I'm going to use that money to subscribe to PFF because Michael Florio's hurting apparently for money. He's got to put up fake stories about the Jags moving to London to get clicks.
So you're going to give him money?
I got to help him out.
That makes sense.
That's what I have to help him because he won't shut up about the Jaguars moving.
You know who needs money? We do. We're a nonprofit.
Our bets
layoffs.
suck.
No
layoffs though. Yeah, we will never lay off people, no matter how bad our bets are.
Let's keep this moving. What's your matchup?
Okay, my matchup. I don't know if I'm going to be able to follow that up. My matchup is none other than the Red River Rivalry. It's a big one here, folks. It's always a big one. But for a couple more reasons. One, Texas is actually good. Number two, Oklahoma is good. That's not being talked about, but they're 5-0 as well. They've put up some points now. Have they played anyone of note? Has Texas?
Alabama.
Other than Alabama. Oh, they did play Alabama. I'm just kidding. So they played some. Okay, so that's the game. But Oklahoma may be good. So I think it's going to be a fun one. Last year, 49-0. Tough. Texas ran away with that one. But here we are back again. A couple of other big storylines. This is next year. We all know that Oklahoma, Texas moving to SEC. So this is their last year with the Big 12, and maybe the last year with this kind of like every year rivalry sort of. We know some of the rivalries are changing next year at SEC, and so this may be the last year of this like annual big huge event, which is kind of a bummer. But one of the best rivalries in football, always exciting. Not last year, but usually this year, I think it's going to be a fun one, and I think Oklahoma could surprise some people and play pretty well. A lot of people are throwing around Texas right now as playoff contenders, national championship really contenders, and this will be a chance to show they can play in kind of the hostile environment. So it'll be fun. I think it's going to be a really fun game.
I'm looking forward to it.
I feel like that's like, that's got to be the game in the weekend, right?
Yeah.
I feel like,
yeah. Because I think the big SEC one is Kentucky versus Georgia, which that's just going to be an ugly looking game.
LSU, Missouri.
Yeah, that one could be fun.
Which Missouri cowards. They're Missouri's biggest frauds of all time.
Listen, Zach, some of us gave them out as over 6.5 wins, okay? Some of us need to root them on.
Well, you've got 5 already, so you just need 2 more.
And if you listen to us over the summer, ladies and gentlemen, you could have got on that with me early for plus money because I said they'd start 5-0.
Most interesting line of the weekend, in my opinion, is this Alabama A&M line is kind of wild. I don't really feel good enough to bet on it either way, but Alabama only being a 1-point favorite at A&M, who has looked good at times, but also has really not looked good at times, is pretty interesting. I mean, the same with Bama, though. So I think this might be a real test to see where Bama's at right now. They're kind of a huge question mark in my brain, to be honest with you. It's in College Station, which obviously makes a big difference, but 1 point is not a lot of points. And that's my take.
It's pretty.
Let me be honest here. That is a good take. I don't have a stat for this, but I feel like when Alabama's playing a small college and they're like 63-point favorites, they always cover those spreads. But when it's games like this, they never cover the spread. And you want to know why I know that?
Against Ole Miss earlier.
Yes, and I've bet it's because I bet it because I'm just like, oh, Nick Saban, like you can't bet against them. And then it's always these big games like this where they end up like losing to Texas, like they lose against the spread. When it's the small games where it's like, I don't know, are they going to cover 70 points against like Southern Alabama, State University or whatever, and it's like, they end up blowing them out by 71. So it's like one of those things where it's like, if it's a small college, take Alabama. If it's a big matchup, then I feel like you should fade them because they've not covered.
I
don't have a stat, but yep, there's my take. So, are we ready for hop on a prop?
Yeah, it's time for everyone's favorite part of the podcast, and that's when they can bust out the notepads and fade us.
So I have an announcement to make. The chant that was supposed to be like a jingle is dead. We need to create an actual hop on the prop, like get Zach's piano or guitar skills or something. We need to create a legitimate, like not me just saying hop on a prop and then expecting the other two guys to get in, and then they kind of do and it dies off. That's not a jingle. So we need to start.
Here's what I'm going to do.
All right, I'm ready.
I'm going to add a sound effect in right here. Then it's going to be our new sound effect.
Great.
All right, can't wait for it. I'm excited.
Okay.
We don't even know what that sound effect is. But here's my hop on a prop. It is Michael Wilson over 37.5 yards at minus 115. Zach, who is Michael Wilson?
Football
exactly.
Player.
Nobody knows who he is. He's a wide receiver, kind of breakout wide receiver for the Arizona Cardinals. He's got Josh Dobbs. Did you guys know that he, was an astronaut at one time?
Yes,
Did you guys know? Isn't that crazy?
Crazy.
Well, you're probably wondering, Mason, you're betting on a Cardinals player. I sure am. The Cardinals play against the struggling Bengals at home. Here's Wilson's last 3 games: 76 yards, 86 yards, and 56 yards receiving. Do you remember what the line was? 37.5. So you're talking like 20, 30 yards more, even like 40 yards more. Who has led the most games in receiving yards, you might ask, by an Arizona Cardinal? Not Marquise Brown. It's Michael Wilson. He has 2 games where he has had the most receiving yards of any Cardinals. Marquise Brown has 1, and Rondale Moore has 1, and Michael Wilson has the other 2. So give me Michael Wilson over 37.5 yards at minus 115. Put it in the books, baby. That's your hop on a prop by Mason Trentle.
Fun fact, I sat behind Josh Dobbs in my matrix algebra class in college.
Wow. Was he just so smart?
That's real. No, he's like playing on his phone and stuff.
I bet
the record show.
I bet UT had his jersey for sale at their shops. Ooh. Unlike those cowards over in Arizona.
For the NIL.
Got him.
Yeah. Got him.
Listen, I really like this bet. Not only has he been Josh Dobbs' favorite guy, the Cardinals are rumored to be trading Marquise Brown to the Panthers. So you could see if a deal gets worked out before the weekend, he's not on the team. That takes away a number 1 target.
So love it.
Definitely like that. All right. My hop on a prop. I guess we're Cardinals boys out here today because I am
apparently so
on James Conner over 58.5 yards rushing. He has hit this in 3 out of 4 games. The one game he didn't hit was against the 49ers when they were losing pretty bad, and so they just kind of abandoned the run. He still had 52 in that game, so it's not like he was that far off. The Bengals defense is allowing 5.1 yards per attempt and 157 yards rushing per game. So I don't know if I need to explain that any further, that they are bad against the run. I think a lot of these defensive pieces, they lost Jesse Bates, some of their defensive tackles and other linebackers are really kind of showing up to be pretty bad for the Bengals defense. That was pretty good. So I'm going to take James Conner over 58.5 yards rushing.
And let me be honest, Tins. Does this feel like now that the Cardinals won a game, I'm now wondering, is it like the Bears and are they the ones tanking and not? Because now it looks like they're all, and Josh Dobbs isn't tanking. And so I'm like, what happens if they get ahead against the Bengals, run the ball to they're not the ones that are going to continue to be aggressive. They're going to try to hang on to this win as much as so they're going to hand it off to Connor, and that means more attempts, more opportunities for the rushing yards. So even if they got up like 10-7, let's just pass it. Let's just hand it off to him a couple extra more times than we would have. Like I just feel like they'll run the clock out a little bit. So or 21-17, whatever it is. But I could see them handing it to him more.
Love it. Love it. So
All right.
Those are our hops on props. Zachy D, let's kick off best bet.
All right, here's my best bet. My best bet is I'm going with Oklahoma at +5. This line has actually moved like in the last 2 days from 6.5 down to 5. I think a lot of people are thinking the same thing. This is in Texas' schedule, this is one of their huge hurdles to get over. I think people are still thinking about that Texas is back kind of narrative where they just haven't been able to put a whole season together. I think it's still there. I think that this game is huge. I think there's a lot on the line. I think it could be close. I think it will be close. And so even though you would rather have it at like 7 or 7.5, I think +5 gives you a little bit of room. And I think Oklahoma is going to keep it close. I do. That's where I'm at.
As a guy holding a Texas -6 ticket, I just don't know. I don't think Oklahoma's played anyone. Texas has some very good players on both sides of the ball.
Sure.
And I think they just want to come in and show that they're like, hey, we're for real. We want to be in the playoff. We're going to dominate this conference before we leave type deal. So that's where I'm at. One of us will be right and one of us will be wrong.
That is true.
Probably true.
I'm smirking on the camera right now because I just looked at Zach's Next Guy Up Parlay. No, it's not. It better be. Okay, hold on. We're teasing it. We're trying to get everybody to finish this episode with us. Yeah, everybody's laughing. Okay, let's go ahead and go to our Tinsley's best bet.
Okay,
let's hear it.
All right, so I kind of teased it earlier that I was going to talk about the Chiefs. Yes, they've looked their offense hasn't been dominant outside of the Bears game like you would expect a Chiefs offense to be all year. And what better way to bounce back than against maybe the worst defense trending in history of the NFL in the Minnesota Vikings. So I'm going with over 52.5. A big part of the reason I'm doing this is you don't blitz Patrick Mahomes. When you blitz Patrick Mahomes, he will find the guy. He will get first downs. He will score touchdowns. Well, here's the thing about the Vikings. They're blitzing on over 50% of plays, but only generating pressures on 14% of those. What does that mean?
Wow.
They're sending dudes, and they're all getting blocked because no one on that defense can generate any kind of pass rush. Patrick Mahomes, against the blitz, he's averaging 8.7 yards per attempt and has a passer rating of 117.8. I don't know about you guys, but that sounds pretty good. Sounds like maybe you don't want to blitz that guy. So to me, I think he's going to have a heyday against this defense. And the Vikings offense, I know you've talked about it, Mason. Kirk Cousins is on track to break passing yards records. Justin Jefferson's on track to break the receiving yard record this year. So it's not them. The offense hasn't been the issue. They've been scoring points. This line's very similar to a line I took a few weeks ago with Chargers and Vikings. That one fell. It was 54.5. It would have cleared this 52.5. So I'm definitely glad to get a little bit under that 54 number because that's a pretty big number NFL wise. So I love 52.5. I'd stop taking it at 53.5 just because you don't want to go up a whole 2 points.
I like it, Tens. I have a fun fact for last weekend's game, the Chiefs versus the Jets. Zach Wilson's the only quarterback to ever outperform Patrick Mahomes in all of these categories. fewer interceptions in a game, more completions in a game, more passing yards in a game, more touchdown passes in a game.
Gosh.
It's pretty wild. But just the fact that no other quarterback has done that during like his whole career is like insane. Like he's dominated in at least one of those categories. It's pretty wild. Like his whole career, he's been around what 5 seasons now.
Yeah, I think
like
it's his 5th year.
Yeah, so pretty fun, like random stat there, but like the pick 10s.
Love it.
You?
All right, my best bet. I feel so. Last week, I went with Evan Ingram over his receiving yards for the morning London game, and it hit in the third quarter. However, I decided not to go with a player prop for my best bet, and I went with the worst bet of the whole weekend. It destroyed Tinsley's life, and that was the Steelers minus 2.5. They lost the game outright. They didn't just lose; they got blown out. So I'm going to actually go 2 player props for mine. My best bet is Alvin Kamara over 25.5 receiving yards at minus 115. First of all, this is I feel like I hear it either way. Is it Kamara or Kamara?
I say Kamara. Yeah.
Wait, it sounded like you both said one.
Almost positive it's Kamara. Just put that out there.
I thought it was Kamara.
From his time at Tennessee.
Kamara had his first game back last week against the Bucs. The Saints coaching staff did everything they could to get Kamara involved in their game plan as much as possible. He had 11 carries, and he had a whopping 13 receptions last week. 13. So here's the thing. He had like 30-something yards, which is like, I need 25.5. So 13 receptions for 30-something yards isn't that great. But the usage is there, and I feel it against the Patriots. I know like their defense can be really good sometimes. I feel like and then the Cowboys blow them out, so we never really know. But I feel like now that they got him back, they're going to run the ball to him. They're going to continue to pass it. He needs 25.5. He could break that off in one catch if you guys have seen any of like him play ever. So give me that over 25.5 receiving yards at minus 115. Put it in the books. Presented by Old Spice.
I really wanted to take Kamara over receptions. The cowards at DraftKings won't release the book or the line.
I wanted that as well.
The reason why Derek Carr is dealing with that AC joint injury to his throwing shoulder, so you're about to see Drew Brees level checkdowns to Alvin Kamara. It's about to be 13 catches, 10 catches. Like he's about to it's just going to be.
That's what happened last week. Yeah, They just chucked it down, and he wasn't even getting. Like he would just get a couple yards, but that's okay. That's a 13 of a couple yards equals 25.5 receiving yards. So I'll take it.
It's good math.
Yep,
Thank you.
I like that bet.
Carry the one.
I'm definitely looking at him catches and receiving yards like what you have for some same game parlays.
Go ahead and take it now. That's a line so I don't think my last one's going to move really. This one I have a feeling on, which I think is going to move. We'll see what happens, but go ahead and take it now, everybody. All right. What we got next, everybody?
It's parlay time. We're hitting this one. You know why? Because this one's absurd. Without Zach's leg in, it was plus 450. I don't know what Zach's leg is.
You just put it in.
Oh boy.
I feel good about it. It's a real bet. It's real.
Go ahead and hit yours right now. This is absurd. But listen, those are the ones that hit. Those are the ones that are absurd. Oh, Tinsley's eyes just got huge. All right, Tins, go ahead and do your leg. I'll do mine. We'll go in the order. So go ahead, Tins.
So in our notes for on our Google Doc, I said Rams money line. Let's get wild. Are the Eagles undefeated? Yep. Did they go to the Super Bowl last year? Yep. Do they have an MVP caliber quarterback? Sure do, boss. Here's the thing. The Rams are sneaky good this year. The Rams have, without draft picks somehow, only having like 4th and 5th round draft picks the last few years, have invested in their offensive line. They're keeping Stafford upright, which that's the Eagles' strength, getting after the quarterback.
something.
They're also getting Cooper Kupp back this week, on top of Puka Nacua breaking every rookie wide receiver
Great name
record ever for most catches, yards, all of this for a rookie wide receiver in his first 5 games. Give me the Rams at home. I think the Eagles have looked a little off. We've talked about it. There's just something, maybe just a little bit. There's rumors of Jalen has a shoulder injury. There's some growing drama with A.J. Brown, the diva wide receiver. Give me the Rams. Let's get wild.
Let's get wild. Okay, first of all, Tinsley, we're figuring this out in real time. Do you want me to do the math since Zach just put his in, or do you want to do it? Because I got my leg.
It's been up here all along in my head.
Okay.
I just had to.
Look, I'm punching into. I just want to see it.
I was stewing on it.
Surprised.
Okay. So you're gonna break it down. All right, mine. He said it's wild. This is very wild, but I suggest everybody take it. You know why? We're due, and this is a wild bet that's hitting. You just talked about rookie records. Do you know who the first player in NFL history through the first 4 games to throw 1,200 passing yards and 0? That's right. I said it correct. 0 interceptions. Do you know who that is?
CJ Stroud.
You would be correct.
Oh,
it is CJ Stroud.
I'm good at trivia.
That's right. I'm taking the Texans money line against the Falcons, which the Falcons just came back from London. They're dealing with, the time change, the travel, the jet lag. They also looked bad.
That's why you want to spend at least 2 weeks in London at a time.
That's right. But in Toy Story World, I don't know who watched it, but the Falcons looked horrible in Andy's bedroom. I couldn't imagine what they looked like in an actual football game.
Got him.
Zinger, but I'm taking that's plus money. I got it at plus 110 for Texans money line against the Falcons. He's looked incredible. Ritter's out here throwing interceptions galore. The only thing that they can rely on is Bijan Robinson. So if the Texans zone in on stopping him, they got it. Put it in the bag. Texans money line. Zach, let's hit it.
All right, here we are. I am taking Vandy plus 18.5. They're due, guys. Vandy's due. Just kidding. Never again will I bet on those stupid idiots from Vanderbilt.
They don't even have a scoreboard.
They don't even have a real scoreboard. I am taking Kentucky first half plus 7.5.
The hook?
I'll tell you why. The hook is one part. Second part. Line for the whole game is 14.5. Tempting. But what has been the Georgia's MO this entire year so far?
South Carolina.
Finishing the game.
Started off like trash.
Wow.
They eventually won big still. Like they won comfortably. If you just look at the score, you're like, oh, that was a comfortable win. It was not, though. We all know at halftime they were down. South Carolina, a team that Tennessee beat up 1 week ago. What happened at Auburn? Did not play very well at all in the first half. It's two's a trend against 2 mediocre teams, Auburn and South Carolina. Kentucky, I think, could be sneaky pretty good. They have a tough schedule ahead of them. They have like 4 ranked games in a row, I think. Starting with this one, it's a tough one for them. But I like their team. I think that they are playing well. They put a smackdown on Florida last week. And so I think they continue this Georgia slow start thing. I think having this quarterback that they don't really trust a whole lot is contributing to that. They've got it done so far, so I don't feel good about betting 14.5, but I do feel pretty good about 7.5 at halftime.
And what did Kentucky do against Florida? They shot out the cannons, like guns a-blazing. The running back rushed, I think it was like school record or whatever against Florida. They looked incredible against Florida. Florida looked bad.
Makes me really nervous about that matchup we have with them coming up a couple weeks.
That'll be fine.
Tennessee has a very tough schedule ahead as well.
1 week at a time,
Bama,
parlay. It's all about the parlay right now. We'll focus on that.
Feel good about the parlay, though. Feel pretty good about it.
All right, Tens. What is the calculation on the parlay?
So not only would the parlay put us up for all the parlays that have lost, but then some. Plus
We're back, baby.
919, baby. Plus 919. What
Oh,
other
we're due.
podcast is giving you a plus 919
We're
guaranteed to hit? None.
Guys, this is it. We're getting
This is
rich.
the one. This is the one.
We're all going to put $100 on it, and we are going to get rich.
Putting $1,000 on it.
Oh my gosh.
Responsible.
I want to see the tickets. Send them out on social media. We want to see.
Okay, let's make a deal with everybody out there. If anyone sends us money, we'll just put it on our parlay, and we'll split the winnings with you. That's how.
Why wouldn't they just take it? Beautiful, love it. I was gonna say, why don't they just take it on their own?
Well, I don't know. Tim's coworker's giving money apparently to do this for him, so I think Tim's is running like a bookie. He's like a bookie on the side for legal sports gambling.
Yep, sounds right.
Yeah.
This guy doesn't know how to set up PayPal apparently, so
Tim's is running the books.
What he did. So I'm running the books. He said,
"That gets you in trouble if anyone hears this."
No, it's fine.
It's fine, guys. It's fine. No one listens.
I love how he's checking on the back end. Hey, let's go ahead and throw this out there. Oh, by the way, after I said it on air,
I just thought about it. It's fine.
On live radio.
This is not live. Well, we can edit that in post. Don't worry.
Dude, what's fun is that it's legal. We're not even talking about illegal gambling. I live in Tennessee. It's a legal gambling state.
Yeah, it is. All right, guys. Great pod. We feel good.
Feeling great about it.
I feel great. I'm ready.
We win this next guy up parlay next. Oh, I forgot. Weekend sweep this week. I had a weekend sweep, everybody. I was going to
so proud of you.
Oh, I did too.
Balls Titans fantasy. I beat Mason. Clutched up. We had 2 terrible fantasy weeks, but I beat him.
So many points on my bench. Go ahead.
He did, but it's my weekend sweep. So shout out my very first one. Tins, you get one too?
I had a quadruple sweep. I won in the fantasy leagues I care about. The Jags smacked around the Falcons.
Yeah.
UT won. And I hit a fat parlay, 5 to win like 130. It was like 6 dudes to go over their catch prop.
Guys, we're back.
We're back, baby.
The quadruple.
This next guy up parlay's hitting.
Well, the only reason I didn't hit mine is because Zach over here, but also the Lakers aren't playing yet. So I'll blame it on just NBA not starting yet.
Yeah.
So sorry, guys.
All right. I think that's our pod, folks.
I believe so.
Hey, we have another episode coming out Monday. If you've been missing out on those Messing Around Monday episodes, you are missing something special going on over there. Make sure you are listening for the episode Monday morning. Great for a Monday morning commute. You know, you got the down the dumps because you're headed to your job. Listen to that. It's gonna help perk up your Monday. We are on socials. We are on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. Make sure you're there with us. Go ahead and like and subscribe on Spotify or on Apple Podcasts. Thank you guys so much for listening. We appreciate it. And we will see you on Monday. Bye.